Great. This is Dave Furlott. He is our OSSTF representative to the Joint Health and Safety Committee, and I'm William Morris. I'm the worker co-chair, and I'm a CUPE representative to the Joint Health and Safety Committee. We hope that you'll be able to take back a lot of useful information as we tour throughout the board to the various high schools, looking at various shops and classrooms. So let's start.
Today we're at Rideau District High School doing a sample monthly woodshop inspection as a part of the Joint Health and Safety Committee's efforts to support the worker in their monthly inspections. Today we're going to be inspecting a woodshop. Before we begin an inspection of a woodshop, it's best to start at the beginning. First, we make sure there's an automatically closing door. These doors act as a fire break. There should be a properly stocked first aid kit. The guidelines, what should be included in the first aid kit, can be found on the school board's health and safety website. Make sure if you're inspecting when classes are going on that you do wear safety glasses for protection, and you should also be wearing proper footwear when you're inspecting a woodshop. Additionally, there should be a handily available fire extinguisher which has been inspected.
Should be one at each location where you have an exit door, so that you want to check the entire shop to ensure that for all exit doors that they are marked and that the fire extinguishers are in place.
As well, we want to keep an eye out for making sure that wood shops have proper signage.
It's important to know where your emergency electrical power shutoff is, so that in the event of an emergency in the shop, you can simply push it and it will shut off all of the electrical appliances, equipment, machinery. When you're completing your inspection, as mentioned earlier, when we turn them on to ensure that the water is flowing, it's always good to do that at the beginning of your inspection. This will provide clean water flow throughout the system in the event that it is required. The definition for an emergency eye wash station, we're looking at something that will provide a continuous flow for up to 20 minutes. Gone are the days of the little plastic bottles that used to be stored throughout the system in various locations. So now we're going to the 20-minute emergency eye wash station.
As a part of our monthly inspections of wood shops, we want to make sure that all the machines are in good repair and safe to use. One of the first things we look at to see whether the teeth on any cutting tools, like a blade, the saw, this is a table saw, are in good repair. Additionally, we want to make sure that all the electrical supply to the tool is in good repair and the shielding is in place and doesn't need to be attended to. Along with looking at the physical structure of the machine, we want to make sure that the Tech Pass safety instructions are affixed to the machine for safe operation. We want to make sure that ventilation is in place to remove sawdust and debris. When we're inspecting a wood shop, we often want to look at the sanding machines to make sure they're also in good repair. We want to make sure that the sanding discs or the sanding drums are not showing wear and need of replacement. We also want to make sure there's adequate ventilation for dust and air handling, and that the electrical supply is not in need of attention. We also want to make sure that there's adequate room in between the machines to allow users or operators to function unobstructed. At the floor, you want to make sure there's also adequate tape, grip tape, to make sure that feet don't slip, and if necessary, any manufacturer supplied guarding is in place. One of the machines you want to check every month in our monthly inspections of the wood shop are any grinding machines. In particular, we want to make sure that manufacturer provided guards are in place, that the stage on which you would rest the implement being ground is in place, and the distance between the stage and the grinding wheel should be no more than 3 millimeters. We also want to make sure that there's a ground plug on the tool. If a tool is found to not be in compliance with manufacturers or health and safety guidelines, it should be locked out and tagged out and no longer be used. Additionally, the placement of grinders should be in such a way that it doesn't send sparks or debris into the middle of the classroom, ideally towards the wall. When inspecting airlines, make sure to keep an eye out for tape over repairs and keep an eye out for worm gear screws. This type of clamp is meant for plumbing, not meant for high pressure air. Now we're going to look at inspecting a drill press. Some of the things to look for is whether or not a Tech Pass is prominently displayed, and on this machine it's not. We want to see if the plug is in good condition and not frayed or missing a ground plug. We also want to make sure the machine appears to be in good operation, that spinning parts are not easily accessible, and that it is firmly affixed to the floor. Now we're going to inspect a chop saw. Things to look for when inspecting a chop saw: you want to make sure that the teeth of the blade are in good condition and not chipped, requiring replacement. You want to make sure the air hose is unkinked and allows for adequate ventilation. You also want to make sure that the electrical cord isn't damaged or need of repair. All slides should be in good condition, and this particular machine should be well affixed to the counter which is working. Not to mention, there should be a Tech Pass prominently displayed for safe operation. Additionally, when you're inspecting a wood shop, you want to check to make sure that wood is stored appropriately. You want to minimize storage of material overhead. You want to ensure that if there's any material stored vertically, that it's restrained with a chain to an adjacent wall. Additionally, you want to make sure that there's clear and easy access to emergency exits without being blocked by any sort of material. The floor should be relatively clean and dust-free, and students should be able to walk around and workers unobstructed. When inspecting machines like joiners and thickness planers, some common things to look for are whether or not guards are in proper working order and there's a return spring, making sure there's tech pass information visibly displayed, making sure there are push sticks readily available to users, and making sure that ventilation is in good working order. During your monthly inspections, you're going to want to look at the flammable storage cabinet and make sure that any chemicals stored in there are also listed in the MSDS binder. We also want to make sure the oily waste can has a properly functioning lid that seals tightly when closed.
The material safety data sheets, normally as part of the WMIS program, have changed slightly under the global harmonized system. Now the DS are no longer required to have a fresh date of 3 years. They can be older, provided that it is, and we can provide proof that it is the most current sheet available for background information on that chemical.
An important part of inspecting a wood shop is to make sure all the tools are in good repair. Some look-fors include tools or machinery with missing ground plugs, machinery or tools that have damaged cords, or that are missing plugs entirely. Any tools or equipment that is found to be defective, deficient, or in need of repair should be locked out and tagged out and not be used. When inspecting, you should also keep an eye out for electrical panels to make sure the panels are securely locked and that nothing is stored within at least a 1 meter radius from around the front of the panel.
As part of your cleanup process at the end of every woodshop class, you want to make sure that you have all of your projects stored safely out of the way, as well as making sure that all of your hand tools are put away. We want to remove all of those slips, trips, and falls hazards within our shop.